I'll be glad to take any questions.
We have a question, 14.
Thank you for your work on this.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask a question that is kind of tangential to this, which is the state of Georgia actually has the first person whose organ was transplanted who is living with HIV. And so are there any conversations that you've had about some of that same discrimination that happens for people living with HIV?
No, this, and that may already be covered under some other law, I'm not sure, but I know this stems from a little girl being born with Down syndrome. And in some countries now, they're actually, the doctors are advising families to terminate the pregnancy when they know that the child has Down syndrome. So, this is one step in that direction.
Representative Shannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You just mentioned, so I'm familiar with how the process works. Usually a board will get together and decide who is the best candidate from a list to receive an organ. And for example, if you have had heavy drug use in your life, you probably are not going to be at the top of the list to receive an organ that you may be on a list that, you say you need. But you just mentioned something about that this is the first step in dissuading people from what does this have to do with terminating pregnancies?
No, this,
Because I think the bill makes sense where I think
Right.
doctors would see, if you have a disability, they just probably would think that you might have a shorter lifespan. Maybe let's give that organ to somebody who doesn't have those same challenges. That part makes sense, but what you just said really doesn't, I don't see how it's connected.
It doesn't, it's not actually connected to this bill. That is another bill and another step for later. And I think it was in Australia that a law was passed. And so, I'd rather not get into that at this time. Maybe I can explain that to you on another time. This is just dealing with children, people born with a physical or mental handicap, making sure they're not discriminated against.
Right, so it has nothing to do with this bill?
No, nothing to do with
Okay.
this bill.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, thank you.